Hi, welcome to this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup One for the love of cars. I am called Arthur and I love cars just the way you love cars. The reason why you're going to watch this episode up to the end is because you love cars, right? And in this show, the Car Weekly Roundup, we talk about things that are happening in the car scene, in the car industry, in the car environment, things that affect car lovers, things that affect car traders, car buyers, car sellers, car brokers, car mechanics, and the government. Of course, something that I don't know how I missed this. Volvo is a Chinese company. Welcome to the weekly roundup. I'll make you feel nice. After that, I'll take you to my place. Locally here, guys, okay, the usual suspects, a taxi, chigege, drone, collided with the Fuso fighter. Normally, these are scenes that we have seen. It's called in Bulanga village. This is in Mayugo district. Along the Jinja-Iganga highway, a taxi, UBB 140D, collided with the Fuso fighter. It's supposed to be UAX, yeah? It's supposed to be yeah, so they collided, and this is something that we see a lot on Ugandan highways. Taxi guys, drones over Chigeges, they drive really badly. They had a head-on collision and 7 people were kaput. So 4 Bafidi Deo immediately, and then the 3 died as they were headed to the hospital in Uganda. Now, this is something that we are used to, and of course, such news always ends up by saying that the police is investigating. I don't know what they are investigating. We all know that the Fuso guys drive badly, the Chigege guys drive badly. And when these 2 people come together, of course, collisions like this happen. Now, although these accidents happen, I understand that some of you guys that are watching will still take taxi even when you have a car. You'll still take buses even when you have a car. Now, I just want to share a bit of what you can do to try and, in case of accident like that, save yourself. 1, don't sit at the front. Don't sit at the front, because normally when a taxi guy is driving and they see a collision coming, but they carry the passenger side. So you don't want to sit in the front. You also don't want to sit in the rear. Why? Because should the Chigege overturn, they normally do pam, pam. And that's dangerous, because kati abali emabega nabo baba be affected, because with danegwa ti. So normally when you sit in a Chigege, sit in the middle, and when you sit in the middle, sit in the actual middle. Don't sit at the window, because remember, the windows of the Chigege also have a lot of butayimbwas, which can actually pierce you. They have a lot of those things. And of course, when you're taking a taxi, don't take a taxi where you sit in the seat and you see that omuto wenyenya, because when that happens, in case of any accident, the seats will actually be the ones to kill you first. So be safe. And if you can, there are buses that were made to actually be buses. I've seen the Chira EV buses ferrying people. I've seen actual buses that were made to be buses, not buses that were built here and built substandardly. We both know that things that are done here sometimes are substandard. And if you can hitch a ride with a friend or a family member, please do that. I find that when you go in a private car, you're safer than when you take public means here in Uganda. And please don't take borders for long distances. That will keep you safe. But it's really sad for the 7 families that lost their people, and may their souls rest in peace. And then, of course, on the same day, 16th December, a woman fought against robbers that came on a border. They had machetes. She had just withdrawn money, and they wanted to take the money from her. But she was quick to react, and she knocked them down. And of course, as she was fighting back, then the border riders Kucharo came and helped her out. And this is, of course, she was injured, because when the thieves come for money, they are really aggressive. But she was able to ward them off. When the border guys on the village came, they killed one, and then they arrested one, and of course one escaped. Like always, one always escapes, the sharp one. But the car really helped her, because I can imagine a woman without a car, she would definitely be the money would be taken. But she was able to fight back. And you guys, this is the time for us to think about our cars as tools of defense. You can defend yourself if you have a car. Like you guys that normally go home and you stop at the gate for someone to open, you should always call ahead. Yeah, because robbers can actually wait for you at your gate, and always be ready to knock robbers down. When you go and you're waiting for someone to open for you, keep the windows up. Okay, but always keep your options open. Should the robbers come following your car behind, reverse and knock them down. It's self-defense. And this is why sometimes we need to have security cameras at our homes, so that someone that doesn't say, oh, yatomedde omuntu, because if the cameras show clear this person yabadde ku gate yo ng'akulinze ng'ayagala kubba n'omutomera, then that will be self-defense. But always treat your car as a defense. And of course, you guys, when you go to park at supermarkets, you get the driver should not always be the one to go buy stuff. It's also a defense mechanism. And of course, if you're driving your car, some people follow you. You go to withdraw money from the bank, border guys follow you. They want to steal your money. Always use your side mirrors and driving mirrors to make sure that you can act like this lady acted in the case of a robber trying to rob you. This happened in Chireka, and the lady is called Elizabeth Namwanje. It happened in Chireka, and she came from the bank. And you know, sometimes it's an inside job. The bank people tell the robbers, or million and stuff like that. So always use your driving. I remember there is a time we were paying our people. We went to the bank, like we withdrew a lot of money, like 50 million we were going to pay. And my man sat here and we looked. And then I told him, now we are FBI people. Keep looking in the side mirrors, the driving mirrors, and every time a border man followed us closely, we stopped so that he goes. And if he went right ahead of us, we would take another route. Wait, you don't know when you get money, you need to be like an FBI agent. You get so. But Elizabeth Namwanje was also an FBI agent. In this case, I only hope that the car was fine. The robbers, I don't know. Yeah, and then of course in Makerere Kubiri Wali, you guys know that a lot of cars burnt, including Land Cruisers, and then there are reports that there was one that had just come from the bond just to have number plates pinned on. And they say, allegedly, that people from a circle had come to like take their 15 million, like each of them was supposed to take their money, and then the chairperson over the treasurer had used up the money, and that they got angry and set the place on fire. I doubt. We all know it might not be true, but there are a lot of losses. So many cars were burnt down, and of course, this is one of the reasons why I don't leave my car in the garage. Nzenga atha emotoka yange bwendaba ng'ekintu kinaawanvu bwe mba siina ssente zikola kintu ekyo, my car doesn't sleep in the garage. That's one of the reasons, because you're leaving your car in a place where there is no insurance, there is no anything can get stolen, and you cannot claim and stuff like that. So sorry for the guys that lost. We all know it might the SACCO people cannot actually burn down, because that's not it's the SACCO office. The SACCO wasn't even registered, and of course the chairperson in that village said Busako butali registered ibo nambu gobi kucharo changi, because people continue fighting. And for the guys that have served in those circles, you guys know that sometimes the treasurer steals the money. Sometimes the chairman and treasurer connive and they take the money. But they say that these are the guys that burnt down the garage. There was a carpentry workshop. A lot of businesses burnt there. And for me, on the car perspective, I would recommend all of you guys, if your car has a fault that is really serious, park it at home, let the mechanics fix it from home. They can. If your mechanic cannot come fix your car from your home, get another mechanic. Because if it's a very serious thing and you don't really have the money, putting your car in the garage is like you spoiling it, because things will keep getting stolen from the car until you really give up on it. Me, emoroke yange bagikanikira waka. Especially the serious things, at least I will leave it at home. So it's really sad, and may God strengthen the guys that lost their cars in that fire. And of course, in Katwe, a Probox burnt down in Gabajiraba. You guys, we need to try as much as possible to be careful so that our cars don't burn down. Now, when I analyze the video that you guys are seeing right now, when I analyze the video, the fire in the Probox actually started from the tank area, the fuel tank area. The fuel tank area. Now, there is only one possible cause for this. The fuel pump was replaced and it was not tightened. And then the fuel dripped on the exhaust pipe. And then the fire petrol, you know how petrol can be. So guys, every time you get a fuel pump replaced, inspect the opening yourself to make sure that these things have been tightened. Inspect it yourself. Don't leave it to the mechanics. Guys, you know, our mechanics, most of them, 90% or 99% did not go to school for these things. Babi demo garage. okitegeera abamu babiyize because their fathers or their uncles are mechanics and they don't really love it. Abamu bali mu garage for survival nga busenga ebintu byagala bikwatayo garage agivaamu. So if you get a fuel pump replaced, you get nozzles replaced, you get the nozzle strip replaced, guys, inspect the car yourself to make sure that everything is working properly. But it's really sad. The people try to, and guys, when the car catches fire because of it, don't pour water. Get a fire extinguisher. Guys, buy fire extinguishers for your car. Amazi tegazikiza petrol mujukide ebintu babitugamba nze I'm not good at science, but I remember telling oba yali atusomesa science bali bamuyita oba Mr. Kalyeso naye Mr. Kalyeso yali wa SST yali wa science. Like boy wa amazi petrol adda kungulu nayongera nayaka. So I see, guys, and soil is, yes, its soil is not very effective. The effective thing is fire extinguisher. Now when a car like that is catching fire, if the car itself has a fire extinguisher, it can help. Now, if the cars around it have fire extinguishers, then that's, but a motor katuvuge motor Kampala nga zonate zidi mu fire extinguisher, and fire extinguishers, the small ones, can cost as little as 15k. Guys, buy fire extinguishers. That's the best way to stop a car fire. Not soil, not water. And then of course, for us, you guys know for us the competitor to Uber and Safe or Safe Border. Yeah, for us has expanded to Mbarara. Hey, these guys are not joking. They know where the money is. They have gone to Mbarara. They have not gone to Kabuli. They have not gone to Mbale. They have not gone to Kapiripiriti. They have gone to Mbarara, and they decided to go there during Christmas period. Hey, talk about strategy. So Faras expanded to Mbara. The guys that I've not used Faras, but I know people that use Faras the border, they use Faras the car. And the people that drive for Faras, they say that it gives them better commissions than Uber or Safe Car or Safe Border. So Faras has gone to Mbara kati neighbor driver ba border abe Mbara name Mbara mu abantu abavubuka abagula motoka bwabwe Spacio bu Alex bu Auris. You guys can sign up for Faras and start earning your passive. Ever passive? It's not really passive. You actually have to go and make and hustle for the money. I don't know how the rates are going to be. I don't know if people deep in the village in Shamshereda are going to be able to order. Is there a village called Shamshereda? It sounds like it should be there, Shamshereda. You get like the people from Barara have the sha everywhere. So the village Shamshereda must be there, and that word must mean something. I'm sure Munyankoro will come and tell me Shamshereda means this. So yeah, that's it with the local news. And then when we go into the international scene, this is what. But I'm feeling so good, like I want the whole wood. I'm not gonna put on a t-shirt today. And then, of course, on the international scene, there is a guy that actually rammed into a police station. Like they don't say why he rammed into the police station, but he rammed into a police station, and he injured an officer and attempted to go behind. That day, Mabeka came back, tried to hit the officers, and they shot him and they killed him. They killed him as he was going to the hospital. Now, people can have their frustrations, yeah? People can have their frustrations, but I don't think that anyone should get to the point of actually going to knock a police station down. I think if you want to do revenge, give it time. When people forget, then you revenge. Don't revenge immediately, because you go to revenge on people and they remember, they shoot you. But if they don't remember, they'll be asking, why is it? So revenge is best served cold, not hot. And then of course you guys already know that Nissan and Honda are partnering to start production of electric vehicles. We all know that Nissan has been struggling for some time now. Starting March this year, Nissan and Honda have been in talks. They are trying to counter the Chinese manufacturers and of course Tesla, because Tesla and the Chinese are the biggest electric vehicle manufacturers. So Honda and Nissan came together and they said, you know what, let's bring technology together to taniko kolachi electric vehicles, and this might be the break that Nissan needs, because when you look at the struggles they have been going through, they're even looking for a buyer. Probably the merger between Nissan and Honda, if it goes through, it can even motivate the buyer more to come and buy them out, so that they continue. Of course, even the German car manufacturers. So I don't know, why don't you go buy and share, go buy shares in Volkswagen? Ingirije muri barodi wano mutu esomera ko wano nenga ife company yafu jetugula mu motoka ne Mazda zafi za Japan tizigwa kale Nissan nayo aba Japan na struggling, but you guys know why it's struggling. And I think the issue with Nissan struggling comes from their CVT gearboxes that have a lot of trouble, and of course they have a lot of cars that are not reliable, you get. But probably the merger with Honda because Nissan has its own good things, yeah. Like Nissan, you can struggle, but then the spares are there, and then people know how to fix them here and there. And then Honda has a struggle with spares, but then probably if they come together, we can get something because of course Nissan has the Nissan Leaf, which is really very popular even here in Uganda. But it's one of the most popular EVs of our time. So they come together, they are trying to beat. But of course, you need to understand that Nissan already has shares in Mitsubishi. Like they have 35%, which is controlling stake. In some, you guys normally think of Munto controlling 51% and above. In some of those big companies, individuals own shares, and by the time one entity like this owns 35% about controller, Nissan is a controller in the Mitsubishi. So if you have a Mitsubishi starting 2016 and above, chances are high you have Nissan technology in there. One of the parts that is in the car is made by Nissan. And then I want us to just go through some of the mergers that have happened over the years. Like in 1989, Ford and Jaguar merged, and then they started producing cars together. That might explain why some of the Jaguars are not good, or why some of the Fords are good. And then of course BMW and Rover came together in 1994. Yeah, so some of the Rovers that you see, and then some of the BMW, you'll find that they share parts. And then Mercedes-Benz and Chrysler. You guys that don't know the Chrysler is an American brand. But then Mercedes-Benz, of course, went and decided, okay, let's take this car here. And then Fiat and Chrysler in 2009. Yeah, then in 2011 they came together, and then because then that's when they started making the Fiat Chrysler cars. And then the one that I've been waiting to talk about, Volvo. Volvo is a Chinese company. In 2010, Volvo was bought by a company called Zhejiang Geely Holding Group. Zhejiang, it's something that would be in a Italian guy summer home movie. Nga vije jinga atandika netugamba to akapande kako Zhejiang Geely Holding Company akanya kagiri ka America. I don't know why they add this here, but if you're driving the XC90, if you're driving any Volvo starting 2010, chances are high you have Chinese technology in there. But of course, the Volvo are still very strong cars. I don't know how I missed that. You get. And then of course, Nissan bought majority shares in Mitsubishi in 2016. So if you have a Mitsubishi 2016 and above, you're most probably driving a Nissan. And then Porsche and Volkswagen in 2012. Those are some of the mergers that happen. Now, why do mergers happen? Mergers happen when one company wants to share technology with another company, or they are looking at the technology that another company has that would benefit them. Sometimes mergers happen when a struggling company reaches out to a company that is doing well and say, you know what, let's come together. Sometimes mergers happen when one company has an opportunity that this other company can probably make easier, so they decide let's merge. Sometimes mergers happen for periods of time, and other times mergers are long term. So and this is something that we don't have as Ugandans here. We don't know how to do partnerships, but if you're the kind of person that can actually do partnerships, then that's how mergers happen. A company joins another company, and business goes back to business as usual. And then of course there is one company that decides on certain things, and then another company decides on certain things. So management teams come together, production teams come together, and there are things that are maintained. You get, for example, when Mercedes-Benz merged with Chrysler, of course Mercedes-Benz then became the person that speaks a lot, and then Chrysler was lucky because Chrysler was struggling a little bit. So I don't know if with this Honda Nissan merger, if Nissan will still have a lot to say because it's struggling, Honda is not. So Honda might actually be the bigger man. Yeah. Comparison of the week, I want us to look at the Toyota Auris and the Subaru Impreza. Now, I'm going to be talking about cars between 2010 and 2015, but there is a difference here. The Toyota Auris started way earlier than the Subaru Impreza. Now, we're going to be talking about the Subaru Impreza 4th generation that started in 2011 to 2016. You need to understand that the Toyota Auris replaced the Alex and Ranix, but the Subaru Impreza just replaced the Subaru Impreza. So it stayed. And for those that don't know, Impreza has two versions, the hatchback and then the sedan. The sedan is what is mostly used in racing, and then the hatchback is the one that ladies like. So it's a ladies' car. I've seen men that drive it. So we are going to compare those two cars, and we are going to talk about stuff like body style. For example, I want us to just look at the hatchbacks mostly. So the Toyota Auris is of course a hatchback. For the guys that don't know hatchback, that's how the hatchback looks. That's a hatchback, and of course, when we compare the drive terrain, the Auris is a front wheel drive and the Impreza is all wheel drive, and that's something that Subaru has kept to itself. When we talk about engine options, the Auris has a 1.3, 1.6, 1.8, and of course in some places you'll find a 1.4 liter and a 2 liter diesel. Don't buy a diesel, it's not worth it. And don't buy 1.3, it's not worth it. And then with the Subaru, we have the 1.5 liter and the 2 liter, both petrol. Subaru Impreza has no diesel. Now, when you're buying a Subaru Impreza, depends on what you want to do. If you're the kind of person that is a performance friends, you can go for the 2 liter. If you're the kind of person that just wants to drive your own things, go for the 1.5 liter. And then when you look at the transmission, the Auris has a 6-speed manual, it has a CVT and a 4-speed automatic. And then the Impreza has a 5 or 6-speed manual and then a CVT. Now, the chances that you're driving a CVT if you already have an Impreza. And then when we look at performance, Auris is just like the Alex. Of course, for the people that don't know what performance means, they're probably driving the Auris like a performance car, but it's made for city driving. And then the Impreza has a sportier feel. Actually, the Impreza has grip. Demo. I inspected it like last week, and the Impreza has that feel that is really strong. Yeah, stronger than the Auris. The Auris is kind of more feminine than the Subaru Impreza. So, and then of course, the Auris will definitely give you better mileage than the Impreza. I'm not going to get into specifics of what mileage, but just know if you're looking for a fuel-friendly car between the Impreza and the Auris, go for the Auris. And then of course, the Subaru Impreza doesn't have a hybrid, but the Auris has a hybrid version, and I've seen it. And then of course, when you look at space, the Auris has more space in the cabin than the Impreza, because the Auris favors more the families, and then the Impreza favors more the same. But even the Impreza has enough space. And then when you look at comfort, yes, the Auris is comfortable, but the Subaru Impreza is also comfortable. I just find that the Auris might have a better suspension because it was not made to be sporty, more than the Impreza. And then they all have standard ABS, but the ABS of the Impreza is a little bit more advanced than that of the Auris. Now, if you're driving in the city, buy the Auris. But if you're the kind of person that looks for performance, then you go buy yourself the Impreza, because it has all-wheel drive, taking struggling and all that. But of course, you need to know there are two-wheel versions. There are two-wheel drive versions, Impreza, so you need to be very careful. But if you're driving in the city and you want the Impreza, there is an Impreza that has two-wheel drive. If you're not the kind of person that wants a lot of performance, avoid the turbos and avoid the 2 liter. The 2 liter Avuga Forester, but overall performance, sporty look, Impreza. Moderate city driving, you want to be okay, buy the Auris. The Auris looks really good in the interior, but I find that you will get tired of it over time. Yet the Impreza has a look that you will not get tired of. Car tip of the week, guys. This is something I've been wanting to say for some time. When you're going to buy a car, don't go alone. Togenda with car, no matter what. If you're going to buy a car, go with a second person, your other person, someone that acts like your heart, your inner person, someone to speak to you when you have forgotten to speak to yourself. Always take someone that you can trust, someone that trusts you, someone that wishes you well. Even if you hire Arthur for inspection, yes, you might trust Arthur a lot, but you need someone that will speak to you. You need someone that will speak to you when you have forgotten to speak to yourself. You need someone that knows you better than anyone around, someone that knows you better than Arthur, someone that will pull you aside and say, I think that is not you. I try to be that person for people that hire me for inspection, but you need that person. Normally, I will ask them things like, what kind of person are you? Where do you normally drive? What's your personality? We try to have those conversations to help us make decisions that people will be happy with. Sometimes someone has money to buy any other car, especially the bond people. Neno mugamba, but from what I see, I think you should buy this car because of this and this and this. Now you need someone that will help Arthur do that job. You get a person that you can trust, someone that wishes you well, someone that knows you probably better than even you yourself. And take someone that does not fear you. No, that car is nice, but that is not you. Let's look for another car that is like this. Always go with the person to buy a car. And these times are dangerous. Car dealers are looking to exploit you. Car brokers are looking to exploit you. Even your mechanic, even Arthur is looking to inspect and go. So you need someone that will push Arthur. Arthur, no, this car is nice, but I think we should look for more. You get. I'm always happy when someone comes for inspection and they come with another person that they trust, someone that will push. I think we should do this. I think we should do this. Someone that will go aside and tell Arthur, I think no, let's do this. So always take a friend when you're going to buy a car. Well, thank you very much for being part of this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. The next time we meet is going to be past Christmas, so I wish you a Merry Christmas. Of course, I'll see you before the New Year. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Jump, jump, jump.